So welcome to Stepping Stones to AAC Fall Harvest Fun. I'm Heather Prenovo, and I'm here with Brittany Tony.
Hello.
So again, welcome. I am the Bitmoji on the right. I'm Heather Prenovo. I'm a speech language pathologist and AAC consultant for Saltillo in Minnesota and Wisconsin. Super excited to be here with you guys tonight. And then we have
Brittany Tony. Hi. Hi, guys. I am an AAC consultant for Saltillo as well and a speech language pathologist. And I cover Saltillo products in southwestern Ohio, Indiana, and northern Kentucky. So I got a few states there. So if you are not familiar with our classroom, these icons that you see on the shelves, and I put the link in the chat, so if you can't see it, just let me know and I can re-chat it out. But these icons, it's interactive, so you can click on them and it'll take you to our previous trainings, and then we will post the webinar of the recording of this specific training as well, in case you want to share it with colleagues or families or whoever you think would benefit. You can also click around in the classroom. The core board that you see there goes to our LowTech boards available for download for free on our website. And then we also have a couple other resources linked as well. So be sure to check it out.
And I will just kind of put a little disclaimer that the Getting to Know You and the AAC camp out, there were some editing difficulties. So we are hoping to get those linked very, very soon. Just having some video stuff. Yes. So welcome. And we know AAC is definitely a journey that, we don't jump right in and know how to use that device. Neither does your child or your student. And so we've got to take those baby steps. And that's why Brittany and I are so excited that we've been able to do this Stepping Stones to AAC for the last year to help guide you on that journey, help you get a little bit farther with your use of the device.
Okay, so today we are going to identify core words and strategies to model during trips to the apple orchard or the pumpkin patch. And this is in your handouts. And it is our Stepping Stones to AAC planning form. And so this is where we're going to work through this form together tonight. But this is for you to take with you. You can print it off now or use it and type into it now to help you remember what we talked about, but you can also take this and use it to plan further sessions with your kiddos who use AAC, and so that you remember what we did and the steps we took to choose core words, plan a question and comment, and then how we ultimately model on the device. So that's what that form is. And then the second form that we have also in your handouts is our Stepping Stones to AAC reference guide. And this is, again, just for your use to help remind you what we talked about tonight and to help remind you of the steps that we took to get to our endpoint of modeling, and to help you remember each of those steps. It kind of explains each one a little bit more. And then you can use this also to share with families, colleagues, really whoever might benefit from having this as well. So just kind of for your use.
Exactly. So we're going to start off with, why did we choose these fall harvest things of the pumpkin patch and the apple orchard? And my first thoughts were, when I worked in the schools especially, we did a lot of field trips to the apple orchard or to the pumpkin patch. And then I know my family, my own children, we like to go and pick out pumpkins at the pumpkin patch when they were little, or go to the apple orchard. We even did family photos at an apple orchard and bought apples. So it's just something I think that a lot of families and a lot of schools do. And so it offers up the opportunity for a lot of active practice with your AAC. So not just sitting with a book or just sitting and drilling, you can also bring it out with you to those activities. But there's a lot of extension type activities as well for before and after, where you could be prepping for that trip to the pumpkin patch or prepping for that trip to the apple orchard. And now we get more repetition of those core words, so that when you're there as the AAC modeler, that's great that you've got some prep work in, as well as for your AAC learner, that they've got a little bit of knowledge. And now we can practice it again for retell. If you did it at home, then maybe they can share that at school. If you did it at school, maybe they can take it home and share. So it just kind of lends itself, I think, really nicely to working on AAC and core words.
Okay, and then this third handout is our LowTech board that we're going to be using tonight to help us think of words that we can use to model. And this LowTech board is based on Word Power 60 Basic. It's 96 locations. And as you'll notice, a lot of these words on this LowTech board are core words. So I like to tell families, especially in teachers, that when we're looking at this board, it's a great board to reference because a lot of these words are core words, which will be great for modeling on AAC, especially for those early learners. So just remember this, and then as you're listening to Heather kind of talk about the different things that she's going to talk about tonight, you can use this to reference and kind of see what words she's using. Most of them will be on this board.
And I always like to point out too, if you're using this or the homepage on your device, being that it's so many are core words, that it just makes it a whole lot easier to start modeling, because you don't have to think about what page do I go to, where do I go next. And so just kind of glancing at that and what can I use right on this homepage or right on this LowTech board, I think helps take some of your stress away.
Yep, exactly.
So no video tonight. We're going to do it live. So you guys are going to get to interact with us. And I am just using my PowerPoint. I downloaded, or I have access to Lesson Picks subscription, and you can actually attach that to your PowerPoint. But you can also use, Google Slides and images, whatever clip art you might want to use. But what we're going to do tonight is we're going to talk about where should our apples go. So I'm going to demonstrate for you how we could do this with our AAC user. And if you want, in the chat window, write down any core words you hear me using. So let's get started. Oh, look at all these apples. Where should we put them? Oh, I think I'm going to put the green one in the basket. What should I do next? Oh, should I get a yellow apple? Where should I put the yellow apple? Oh, I'm going to put it out. We're not going to put it out. That one doesn't need to go in. What should I do next? I'm going to get a red apple. Should we put it in or take it out? Oh, I'm going to put that one in. I'm going to put a yellow one in. And I can put the green one in. No, you don't want the green one in? All right, I will take it out. All right.
You guys did awesome. You got like almost all the words she said.
Right. I was going to say, I was keeping my eye on the chat window and trying to talk, which is not easy, let me say. And you got all the words that I was thinking of. So, oops, I came out of my mode. Kind of the same thing with this one. So I'm doing a similar activity with the pumpkins and the fence. And so we can talk about where should we put the pumpkin? We can put the big pumpkin on the fence, or we can take it off the fence. Should I get the big one or the little one? Oh, we're going to put the little one on. I can take this big one and put it on. So lots of fun can be had, I think, with these kinds of activities. And what's even better is once you've got an activity like this for a theme, like, harvest, if you've got specific things that your child is interested in, you can make these kinds of PowerPoint interactive pieces. And oh my, there we go. Sorry, I had a glitch. my boxes are not lining up. So we're gonna try our best. And I apologize. I don't know what PowerPoint.
That is. That's okay.
Good question, Nikki. Yes, little and big, I do consider kind of those like next step type core words, and Brittany can kind of speak to it too. I don't consider it like that mainstream core, but because we can use big and little in a lot of different things, and those concepts, to me, they're like that right there on the cusp of core vocabulary.
Yeah, and I think, and especially if we're talking about describing words and if we're using adjectives, big and little are great adjectives to start with, because it's a pretty easy concept. That's a really early developing concept. So when I think of core words that are also adjectives, I often do start with things like big and little, fast and slow, things like that, those types of adjectives, because they're a little bit easier to start with than some kids even that may not understand colors or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. You're very welcome. And that's where I also like to start with those main core words that you guys put into the chat window. And then as you get comfortable with those, okay, now what could I add to it that isn't going to add too much, but still expand the vocabulary? So the first step on our organizational tool is to pick out those core words for the activity. So we picked this activity. Now, what core words could we target in this activity? And so I threw in the words that you guys put in the window, as well as there were a few more that I saw. Get, where, next. Yes, all of those words work perfectly, big, little. And again, starting simple. So if, 6 words is a lot, right? So if you wanted to just work on in and out for that activity, or, put and take, whatever it is, start simple, start what you're comfortable with, but you've got room to grow. So this is just a jumping off point. The next step then is open-ended questions. And so open-ended questions we want to use to encourage communication. They require more than just a yes/no answer. So it keeps that conversation going, and it also allows for your child, your student, to have some autonomy with it. If we just do yes/no, or if we just do questions that have a very specific answer, then it kind of starts to turn into testing. That if we're expecting them to answer it a certain way, maybe that's the only vocabulary that they were given. And so by thinking about open-ended questions and these core words, that they can have some control over what they say, can be really helpful. Writing down those open-ended questions for each of the target words on the organizational tool helps you, again, prep, helps you think about what you're going to say so that it becomes a little more natural the more you do it, and you're not stressing in the moment to think about what am I going to say with those words. And so just a quick quiz, which one of these is an open-ended question? Is the pumpkin on the fence, or where does the apple go? Nikki says 2. And Sherry Ann says 2. And yes.
Good job, guys.
You guys passed. So yes, that yes/no question, I mean, there's what else can we say after they say yes or no? And do we need a device for that, or a LowTech board? Whereas, where does the apple go? Now they get to have some control, right? They get to tell you where the apple should go, and we don't have to predict what they're going to say. And I don't know, Brittany, my PowerPoint is just really wonky today.
That's so weird.
Normally these line up really nicely, so we apologize. So what's an open-ended question that we could have for the words in or out? And the questions could have in or out in them, or they could, the answer to the question could be in or out. I know one I said earlier, where should I put it? And that one can actually be used for all three of the core word pairs that I have on the screen tonight, which to me is even better when you can repeat. Any other questions you can think of? Where is the apple? I like it.
Which one should I put in?
Ooh, which one should I put in? I was also thinking, who should take it out? We could maybe throw in some who questions. And how about on and off? I think we could use where is, right?
Yep.
Where's the apple or pumpkin? I also thought of what is on the fence. So if you wanted to dive into the fringe for the pumpkin or big pumpkin, maybe you just focus on the big and little. That could be a word too.
Yeah, which pumpkin is on the fence, maybe? And you can say like little pumpkin or big pumpkin if you're targeting those.
I like it. And then same thing for put and take. So I could reuse that who should take it out. I think we could do the where do I put it?
That's what I was going to say.
Hey, I feel like we're starting to read each other's minds after all our sessions.
Oh, you just said that one. I was going to say who should take it out, but you already said that. Sorry, I was paying attention.
Right. So you get the idea with that one. Again, and how do I, ooh, there, I like it.
I like that one, yeah.
Oops. Perfect.
I feel like this is a good OT activity, sharing it, put in, take off, take out.
This doesn't have to be virtual, right? I've seen like the cutout. Maybe you're doing a cutting and pasting, if that's what your kiddos like, or if you've got the manipulatives, to put that. I was thinking the other day of like hi-ho, cherry-o too. They kind of look like little apples, so maybe you can play a game with it. Again, extension activities, lots of possibilities. So then the last two steps are we're going to look at possible comments. So we know some kids are not answering questions or not responding to those open-ended questions yet, which is totally fine. So we can be modeling possible comments, possible things they could respond with, so that they can see what that looks like. And writing down 1 to 2 comments that model for them what they could say, again, it's just that prep work so that you have something at the ready, so you're not stressing about finding the word, thinking of what to say all at the same time. We do advise that you keep it at or just above their language level, and meaning if they're pressing 1 or 2 buttons or using 1 or 2 words on their device, don't do more than 2 to 3 words beyond what they're currently saying. So we don't want to jump to those huge sentences yet. Add just a couple words at a time. So if they model go or put on their device, they're telling you put, now maybe do put in or put it in, and slowly add just a couple. Give them opportunities to imitate that. Pause, wait, give them that expectant look and see if they do it. But don't jump to, you know, I will put it in, because that might be just a little too much. So then we can put those sentences into our grid, which is overlapping so well tonight. And again, I would put in various lengths. So maybe that first one is just go in or put in. What else could you model for a comment with in and out? I think I used this. Yeah, take it out. And I was going to say you take out, or just take out. Maybe take it out. Get those different lengths in there. How about on and off? I think we were talking earlier about put pumpkin on. Or even just modeling on fence. And even if you just touch on the device, you don't have to dig in and find fence. That's okay too.
I put in, that's a good one, Nikki.
Ooh, I like it.
I put apple in.
Put apple in, love it. Yeah, or take apple out. You take it off. Yeah, you guys totally have it. So the final step, that step 3 about how will you model, is again giving yourself that prep work of having a couple more options available. And so here's where you could, if you in your comments hadn't thought through more ways of modeling, how would I model it at 2 words? How would I model it at 3 words? Or if your user's using more words, you know, how am I going to do it with 4 or 5? So just giving yourself a few more options. Planning ahead, making it become more automatic. And then you want to find those words on your device or on your LowTech board. So I'm just going to highlight the words that we were looking at tonight with a red border. And you can do this, I'll show you in just a second that I did this on my LowTech board. I used a dry erase marker and circled these so that it draws your attention. You can also put a border on the buttons on your device if you want to do it that way. So I'm going to come back to our lovely interactive little board here, and then I'm going to turn on my doc cam. And so for just a minute or so here, let's show what it looks like in action. So if I'm going to model those sentences of put in, and I grab an apple and I put it in, or maybe I do take out. Oh, I was trying to figure out how to make my apples actually go inside, so I had to overlap the barrels. And as you can see, it's not working well. And then if I want to expand, so on the describe page, I have big and little in WordPower 60 basic here. So, you know, big in, or maybe I do put describe big in. Same with colors. I could say take green and then come back out to the home page, out, and do that. And same with this, you know, put little on. And if I switch over to my LowTech, and I'm just going to zoom in on the section that has those words on the LowTech, but I just took a dry erase marker and put a nice border around it. And again, if you're using this and they're using their device, maybe you're just pointing to that we would go to the describe page, or I'd have fringe maybe next to it, or those extra words like big, little, green, red. And so I could say on the describe page, we have big, put in, or put on, you can take off, and show them how I would do that. All right, it is 7:30, 8:30 your time, Brittany. I'm going to switch back over to our slides here. And we just like to have a reflection time of what questions do you still have about modeling and core of words during this kind of an activity? How did you feel when you've practiced on this kind of thing? Do you have some next steps? Some questions, and I do see a question. Do you try to focus on the same handful of words for a few weeks, or how do you choose which words for each activity? Great question, Sherry Ann. I would say depends. Sometimes it's nice to have a focus on some similar words for a longer period of time in a lot of different activities. And so that works really well for a lot of kids. And also, there are lists out there you can choose from on the AAC Language Lab. There's 100 frequently most used core words. There we go. And you grab off of there. But our kind of thought process with this planning was take the activity and then think about what words would you maybe already be saying in that activity. And which is why we like to do the activity and then let's brainstorm what words did you hear me saying. Because those lend themselves. Do you have any other suggestions, Brittany?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it. That's how I typically used to plan my therapy sessions with my AAC kiddos, is I would kind of let them lead in whatever activity we were doing. Then I would choose words that kind of fit that activity versus picking the words first and then doing the activity. And then I also, other words that I would kind of go off of as far as first words to teach was Gail Van Tatenhove's study that she's done a research, and Mayor Benagi's research about the first 100 core words that are used by people developing toddlers is always a good place to start too. So yeah, but those are good questions for sure.
Yes, and actually, I will pull that up here.
It's a great question, Nikki.
Let me see if I can get that pulled up before we go. On the AAC Language Lab.
Is this a free resource?
I think it's under, I'm trying to remember where it's under.
I don't know either. I know it's under word list and vocab resources at the top.
Thank you. I'm like, I know it has its own thing.
Yeah. I think I feel like it's in there, but.
Nope. Aha. 100 high frequency core words. I will put this link into the chat window. So if you want to click on it and go there. So yeah, it's under the resources, under word lists and vocabulary resources.
There you go. And then it even has the smart charts for you, which are the icon sequences, Nikki. That's what that means. If for some of the words that, or I'm sorry, excuse me, some of the vocabularies that we have. So if you if your kiddo is using board power 42 or 60, 80, 108, I don't know what specific vocabulary they're using, but we do have some smart charts, which is kind of nice because then if you don't know where the words are, then you can look and it'll show you where all of those top 100 words are. Kind of a nice
This one is for 42 basic. So just as a glance at what that looks at.
What I like about this too is that if you don't have Chat Editor or don't have access to it, what's nice about these smart charts is then you can actually just print this off and then cut them out, and then you can put them wherever. I used to have teachers that would label their classroom with these pathways so that the kiddos started to recognize where those icons were and where to find them on their device.
Perfect. All right. Well, we really appreciate you guys joining us tonight. And if you have any questions, just let us know. And we hope you will join us. We have a couple more sessions this year before the end of the year. Have a wonderful rest of your evening and happy autumn.